I'm not that predictable. Okay? I'm not going to do a bit to start last week's episode and then do a bit here. That would just be ridiculous. I mean, that's what you would have expected. I did this whole thing about like, oh, I'm not going to do my normal intros anymore. It's good to have change. So naturally, it would you would expect to, get some kind of bit at the beginning of this episode too. But that's just too predictable. I'm not going to do that again. And now you expect me to do it, right? I Another psych out. I say I'm not going to do it, and then I do it after saying I'm not going to do it. But I'm not going to do that. That's cheap. That's not my style. See, you still expect me to do it though, right? Now we have this tension. There's this energy between us, There's this potential energy. When is this going to turn kinetic? I don't know. Actually, I do know because I know where this is going to go. I don't. I know where these podcasts will touch on, but then I don't know where they go. I know certain destinations will hit. I don't know the journey we're going to take. That's how every podcast is. Um, there's certain like gas stops we got to get to just to refill. But then, in between that, who knows? Maybe we see some roadkill and we're like, ooh, maybe we see some, goats on the side of the road. We stop, take some pictures of the goats, you know? So I got the destination, don't worry. But the journey, that's where the question is. And you still, I don't know if you still think this. I would have expected as a listener slash viewer that I'm gonna pop a bit. That sounds dirty, but I'm gonna pop a bit out of nowhere. Like, where's the joke? What punchline is he working towards? But I'm not. There's nothing. I'm telling you, I wouldn't do that. I'm not predictable like that. Okay, I'm unpredictable. One would say that is the thing you can bet on. That I'm predictably unpredictable. Okay? So if I'm going to do a bit last week, I'm not going to do one this week. That's cheap. That's a bunch of, you know, folly. Why would I do such a thing? You're expecting me see that's the thing. Now, you're just going to keep expecting me like to come out with the punchline, but there's nothing. There's nothing. So let's dive into our first serious topic this week. Um, I don't know how you guys break up your lives, but I have seen that there's different stages of life. So, the beginning, right? Preschool. This one's very optional. I came to learn that not everyone goes to preschool. I did. I did go to preschool. And that's where I told the story about, eating a cheese stick and throwing up. So, preschool, very formative time of my life. We had nap time, the whole shebang. Preschool, we'll just omit it because I don't think it's universal. So let's jump into elementary school. J- Elementary school, happens. Middle school happens, high school happens. And when you do those three, those seem like three different stages. But now, what I've come to learn, at least, for me personally, after you get out of high school, you start college, the stages start to look different. The groupings get rearranged. This is, once again, IMO, in my opinion. When you're in high school, the three stages are elementary school, middle school, high school. But now that I'm in college, I've started grouping these things together. It's like a Costco, you know? What is it? Bundle. Does Costco have bundles? I don't know. I know they have bulk. So, this is like a I don't know what this is. This is uh I can't think of bundles. Who bundles stuff? Oh, this is like, oh, great example actually. Went to Pizza Guys 2 days ago, and they got this thing. I don't know if it's like a quarantine thing or what's up, but if you order at least $20 of food, when you go in, you can pick any 2 liter soda you want, or I think like there's another option, like a dessert or something you can pick. Oh yeah, it's 2 liter of ice cream. Sorry, I just morphed two ideas. It's a 2 liter of soda, or you can get a tub of ice cream. So I usually elect the soda. I don't really drink soda that much, but I still go with the soda. For some reason in my head, 2 liters of soda has more value than a little tub of ice cream. So I don't even know if I do it because I prefer it over the ice cream, but I just love a good deal. So I'm like, oh, of course I'll take that. That's like if I, when I go to the, your everyday like Walmart, Walgreens, whatever. I don't smoke, but if they have a good deal on cigarettes, might pick up a pack or a few, depending on what the deal they have running is. Because I just can't pass up a good deal. But now that I'm in college, I've found that I've grouped elementary, middle school, and high school together into one stage of life. That's like, I think people call it grade school, right? So now I've grouped that into grade school. And I've seen college, while it is much shorter than the grade school stage, I've grouped college into one stage of its own. It's 4 to 5 years. It can be longer, it can be shorter, but for me, it's looking 4 to 5 years. And that is, for the sake of this conversation or discussion or whatever this, I feel weird saying conversation or discussion because this is, at least right now for me, this is a monologue. This is a one-way thing. There's no dialogue. I know you will comment in Discord, DM me, comment on the YouTube page. So then I guess, does it become a dialogue? I don't think that constitutes being a dialogue because it's not in real time. It's more of a, because once it could even qualify being a dialogue, then it gets into reflection because you look at it after the fact and then you have as much time as you want. So it's more of a reflective thing, not a like in real time dialogue. Does that make sense? I don't need to talk about that. Anyways, for the sake of this conversation, we'll just, I don't know why I even brought that up. Why did I bring that up? But we'll just say college, is 4 to 5 years, much shorter than grade school. But equally, I feel like they're weighted the same. Like the development that happens in college is equal to the development of your life in grade school, which isn't the case. The thing is, in grade school, I feel like everything about a person is more malleable, whereas the college is doing some just last minute touch up work before the rest of life, right? I feel like there's a lot of fluidity in grade school. Like everything's moving around. And then, yeah, college is like more fine tuned stuff. This is, once again, I found personally. I don't think it's true for everyone. People have changed in all times of life, but I'm just speaking from GPOV, Gauruv point of view. I found it, yeah, that to be true. But the reason, this is all unimportant, but I'm just trying to get to the point of the next step. We always talk about it growing up, right? Like you talk about, oh, one day when I, live on my own or whatever, or one day when I have a family, or one day when I have a house, one day when I have a job, one day when I I don't know, what else do adults do? One day when I pay taxes, one day when I write my will. It's always one day. It's this time in the future that always seems ridiculous. Like you'll never get there, but it's going to happen one day. One day. I made this vlog, one of my first vlogs, like my move-in day vlog for college. This video right here. Here it is. I remember the first line I said in that video. I don't remember it verbatim, but I can Um, I can, paraphrase. It was something like, well, I always knew this day was going to happen, but like, I always knew this day was going to happen, but I didn't know it was. It felt weird that it finally had happened because this was one of those one days. Growing up in grade school, you always say, one day I'll be in college. And for that to finally happen, it was very surreal that it was finally one day. And so there's been these big, a couple things have happened, not to my direct person, but to people around me in my life. Some big things that have happened recently that have made me realize I'm about to be propelled into the next stage of life, whatever post college is. I don't know if that's again broken into more stages, but the stage that takes place after college. So we have grade school, college, and then whatever the fuck goes on after it. And I knew one day this was going to happen. One day I was going to graduate college and life was going to exist post college. But that's the thing, one day. It never seemed like it was actually going to happen, right? It seemed like a fairy tale. It's the same thing as Once Upon a Time. Except Once Upon a Time is reflecting on a like fake past, right? Because it's a story. But one day is like the direct mirror of that in the future. Once upon a time, you talk about in the past, once upon a time, this happened. You just have to take my word for it. It happened. In the same way that you say, one day, this is going to happen. I promise it's going to happen. You just have to take my word for it. And so these big events that have happened, I can't say, but things have happened to people around me or starting to happen that have made me realize, oh, this next stage of life is very, it's looking me dead in the fucking eyes. And I found myself thinking one thing, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this. Man, what are we doing? Why is everything moving so fast? Let's just slow down. Let's chill out. We don't have to take this next step yet. And then I started thinking, because, this isn't the first time I've moved into a new stage of life. The stages of life that I've set up for this conversation. I'm not saying whatever stage of life science says. I don't know what science says. That's why I became an engineer. Also, excuse me while I wipe my nose. But my stages of life. I've transitioned into a new stage of life before. Elementary school to middle school. Middle school seems so big. That was one of the biggest changes. Like, it seemed so scary going on that campus and seeing how big it was. Because elementary school, you go to one classroom and that's when you do everything. You do math, science, everything in that one classroom, which is insane to think about. But it makes sense because shit is so basic back then. But then in middle school, every different subject has a different teacher, a different classroom. So inherently, the campus is just bigger because you have to accommodate for all those different things. Actually, you don't have to, because I'm not going to get into the structure of a middle school, but a middle school doesn't really actually have to be that big now that I've thought about it. And in the same way, high school seems so much bigger than middle school. But then once you're in it, it doesn't seem big at all. The same exact way that college seems fucking terrifying before you're here. Davis, I don't even know if this is true anymore because I've read other statistics and shit. But again, we'll just pass this off as fact so that my conversation is, consistent. Davis is the biggest UC. It's one of the biggest, college campuses, I guess, in California. I don't know. But it's very big, is the point. And I remember coming here, I lost my ID. I made a video. This video, I lost my ID before school even started. And I remember I was in Tercero. If you go to Davis, this context makes more sense to you than it does others. But I was in Tercero, and to get a replacement card, you have to go to the MU, the Memorial Union. And that is on the direct opposite side of campus. And I remember being so terrified when I lost my ID. ID. Not because I lost it. That'll happen. But knowing that I had to get to the other side of campus, that was like this giant trek. Like I in my head, I was like, oh, this is a whole movie. Like someone's, this is an adventure in front of me. And I remember being so scared, I asked my roommate, I was like, hey, I just got to go to the MU for something. No, I think I did tell him that I lost my ID. And I asked him, I was like, can you come with me? Because I was just so scared of going over there. But now, I've been going on walks for the past week or two, just all around campus. And it doesn't seem that big. Davis is very easy to navigate. Like, if you have a bike, you can get anywhere on campus in 10 minutes. Anywhere. And so this thing that seems so scary once upon a time is so normal. And so it shows, I've gone through these transitions before into this new stage of life. So I tried to think about that as I realized that I'm faced with the next stage of life. I tried to think about, what did I do in the past? Because that's why we learn history, right? These patterns repeat themselves, they're parallel episodes. And so we have to, hopefully, this doesn't always happen, look at history and learn from it so we don't repeat past mistakes. So I looked at history. I said, what did I do when I moved to these new stages of life? Like, did I have this feeling before, or is this a new fear? And I realized that every stage of life, I've never been ready for the next stage of life. Because how can anyone be? And so it makes complete sense that when faced with the next stage of life, I didn't know it was going to happen, this soon, which is very ignorant to think. Like, how did I not know? I knew it was going to happen in the next year or two. How did I not start thinking about it already? But I realized, faced with this next stage of life, that it makes complete sense that it's scary. And that I don't feel ready for it. Because I think no one ever really is ready for it. And so this is completely normal, is what I'm telling myself to make myself feel better. I guess this is building off of last week, right? That whole thing about change. Change is scary, but again, I welcome it because for the most part, it's good. For the most part. And so knowing that there's so much change in the immediate future is like scary. But that's the thing, it turns out fine in the end. But it's happening soon. There was something very comforting 2 years ago when I realized I'm gonna have to do 5 years at Davis. It made the next stage seem even farther away. It made one day when you graduate college, it made that one day farther away. And then I guess that change became farther away too. And there was something very comforting in that. It meant I could really enjoy the present. I could really just exist in the 4 years of college and not have to worry about, oh, the next thing is coming real quick. But now I think that's what it is. The future is so close that I've been taken out of the present, and that's scary. It's not scary, it's just unsettling. There was this thing this guy said, Simon Sinek. Simon said you should stop, Simon says. Simon said you should stop saying, before he gives a lot of speeches and shit, It's like, companies hire him because their team, doesn't have great chemistry. No one trusts each other. So they're like, we'll bring in this guy. We'll use all our funds to bring in this guy to talk to us. And then we'll all take away points from him, but then not change at all. So really, what the fuck is the point? But that's how Simon makes his living. So props to him. Simon says, before he goes out and does a talk, someone's like, are you nervous? And he'd done this mental these mental gymnastics, I suppose, with himself, where he no longer says, "Yes, I am nervous." He says, "I'm excited." Because apparently, I don't know, this is what Simon said. Who knows if you can trust the guy? Half the time he's not even saying the thing. And then that's when you get in trouble. Because Simon didn't say so. Simon says, touch your nose. Touch your ears. Ah, Simon didn't say so. Shit. Only do what Simon says. But he said that there's that same chemical or whatever when you are nervous is the same chemical when you're excited. I could be totally off the mark here, but this is what I remember. So it's going to be it's law in my head, okay? It's pure fact because I've decided. But he said the same chemicals get released when you're nervous and excited. So if you start using language like, I'm excited to give this talk, it mentally makes you less nervous. It makes you, more confident going in. Even though it's the same exact chemical. It's your outlook on it that changes it. I don't fucking know. I'm studying engineering. What the fuck do I know? So that's what I've been kind of trying to do. I understand this is scary, but I'm trying to say, I feel like so cynical, right? So it's hard, but I'm trying to say, yeah, I'm excited. But I'm fucking terrified. No, but I'm excited. I'm excited. It's good. It should be good. But like I was saying, I was walking around campus for the past few weeks. I like going on walks. Walks are nice. Nature's really cool. I didn't leave my apartment, this room, pretty much. Earlier this week, I didn't leave it for like 3 days straight. I was just busy. And so I finally got outside, and wow. They're doing that every day. The outside thing? It's like they're playing a movie that you really like every day, and it's always on. Like the showing, you're like, oh, when does the showing start? Let's show up an hour early, and remember, smuggle in some snacks. Except, hey, guess what? The movie's always on. And no matter when you go in, it's like the most exciting part, right? I don't know. I'm thinking some bullshit analogy right now. It's coming out of my ass. That sounds gross. There's something there, right? Life is a movie, but you can take a bathroom break whenever you want. And you only miss the exciting part when you close your eyes or something. I don't know. Who fucking knows? But I've been going on walks, right? And I came across this squirrel, and the squirrel was staring at me at the base of this tree. I was sitting down, I was playing Pokemon Go, and the squirrel was just staring at me for like 3 minutes. And so you can see here, I'll put the video right here. I recorded it. That's me, and then that's the squirrel. And then I do a bad job of showing the squirrel. It gets really cut off because I was using like the front facing camera. And then the squirrel started getting closer, whatever. And then the squirrel was like 2 feet in front of me. Sorry. Here's that video. This is when the squirrel is like 2 feet in front of me. And the squirrel and I were just having like a stare off. And then I put my camera away because I was like, for the squirrel to get in closer, I feel like he doesn't want my phone to be out. So I put the camera away. And then he got on his back 2 feet. And he started walking towards me. It was unsettling, but at the same time very calming, And the squirrel was getting very close. When these 2 girls walked behind me and were giggling, and then right when they let out a big giggle, squirrel ran the fuck away. It ran way off. And I was like, God damn it. If these girls hadn't shown up, maybe the squirrel and I were going to talk about our day, No. But then that got me thinking, when these girls walked by and the squirrel bolted, the squirrel was chill. The squirrel and I, we were broskies. But it was when those 2 girls came, made a noise, That noise happened to be a giggle. That the squirrel's like, fuck this, I'm out. And it's because squirrels had that relationship with humans, right? And it got me thinking, I feel like let's just indulge or give credit to the parallel universe theory for a second here. Because I was like, there's a universe out there in which animals and humans like coexist in society. Like an example I was thinking of, you cut down trees and you got to have this big piece of machinery to take the wood and load it onto trucks. And I was thinking, what if we were like cool with bears? Bears could probably lift trees and just put them on trucks and we're like, hey, thanks, I'm going to go get like a lemonade break. You load the truck, then we'll swap out. You get lemonade, I'll cut down the tree, then you pack it on. But one day, some dumbass fucking human decided to shoot a bear. And it's like, damn it, man. We we could have had like Zootopia, but with humans included. That's what life could have looked like. And we fucked it. We fucked it. Like squirrels, we could have. The other thing I was thinking, like squirrels and humans, I don't know if it would have been English, it would have been whatever language, but squirrels and humans could have had some language they shared. We could have worked on it. I think squirrels are smart enough, right? They make a certain noise and we can make it back. Like we've developed a language with these animals, but some fucking idiot decided to hunt a squirrel one day, and now squirrels are terrified of us. And the reason I know this theory has legs is because when I go back to Roseville, all the squirrels, if squirrels are like 100 yards, like proximal to you, those bitches will, they'll fucking dart away. They're like, nope, I know you what you are. No, I don't want any part of that. Whereas squirrels in Davis, they're like, if you're not gonna eat that goldfish, I'm gonna be right here. I will totally take that off your hands. And so you can see it. Roseville, squirrels are like, fuck humans. And Davis, they're like so comfortable. It's insane. You can get so close to a squirrel. A squirrel will touch you if you have food. Like, I remember that I was eating, the reason goldfish came up, I was eating goldfish 2 years ago. I was sitting on a bench and this squirrel came up and just sat next to me and put his hand on my left thigh and then just watched me. I was like, I'm not going to give you this goldfish, man. Because then he would just been like, well, I want more goldfish. And it's like, I was really hungry that day. So I couldn't really spare the expense. And also, I've heard you're not supposed to feed squirrels on campus. It creates a bad, like they don't start providing for themselves. They start relying on humans, and then that fucks the whole ecosystem apparently. So you're not supposed to feed them because then they become reliant. But I did a little sneaky sneak. A squirrel walked away and then he sat by a trash can just watching me. So what I did was I saved one goldfish, and when I went to throw away the bag, I just dropped the goldfish on the ground and threw the bag away to make it look like, oh, it was an accident. But I did get the squirrel his one goldfish. So that's what I'm saying. Like, a squirrel will just come up and be like, I'm waiting for you, homie, whenever you're ready. Because that's the culture or the environment that we've created for these squirrels in Davis, in this student town. And so you can see we're already almost there, Or like Davis is further along than Roseville, for example, which means if we get even further, there is a world in which animals and humans coexist. Now, the only thing is, like, the reason it hasn't worked so far, humans are the problem. I just want to say, humans are totally the problem. Like, we even see other human, like, even we have interspecies conflict, conflict within our own species, Because even if you're a different color, then people are like, I don't like you. Like, that's how slavery started, right? People were different colors and they were like, well, you mean less. And we're like, what the fuck? So, I mean, humans have a lot of hurdles to get over to start thinking other species are equal. I mean, that's why we started hunting, right? We're like, well, you're made of meat, and you're not as valuable as me, so I'm gonna kill you. Or, I mean, it might have come from survival. Like, the animals tried to kill the human, and the human killed the animal, so they wouldn't die. But then again, humans write history, so it's like, maybe we always say the animal was the aggressor, but the human was probably the one that poked it with a spear. So, what do you really believe? I don't know. I haven't talked about that, right? On this podcast. This seems very conspiracy theory-ish, so I don't really tell people about it, but it's like, all history is fake. Isn't that so fucking weird? Because humans write history, and then you've heard this probably, right? That only the winners write history. So it's a very biased viewpoint. But then I've seen it on a very personal level. This is the example I give people, and this is the example that I give so much credit to this theory for. You know when you go to like a fair, or you go to the movies, you do anything with a friend, and something wacky happens. Like, you go to a diner, and someone spills a milkshake on themselves, and then it's like, oh, that was wacky in our suburban life. Someone dropped a milkshake. So then you go to your third friend, because you only have, 3 friends. I guess you're included as one of your own friends. You go to the third friend of the friend group and you say, oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened earlier. This person tripped and spilled a milkshake on themselves. And then your other friend says, no, that's not what happened. They were like walking and then someone had bumped them and then they spilled the milkshake on them. And so even in that small scale of seeing someone have an accident with a milkshake, there's 2 very different stories. And unless you go back to that moment, or you ask that person, or you get more of the witnesses to testify, no one really knows what happened. You just have to believe the more trustworthy friend in that situation, and then pass that off as truth. So in the same way that, when you and your friend tell a story to another friend, and then you have a disagreement, in the same way that that disagreement happens, I'm sure that happens in history too. And the funny part is, both you and your friend also could be telling a story that's not even true. Like, you both give different versions, but one of them's not even the right version. Or like both of them aren't even correct. So in the same way that, we retell stories, that's all history is. It's a retelling of events. And so you see it with your friends, how much we mess it up, that I'm sure historians have messed it up a lot too. And so in conclusion, all history is fake. Because winners write history, and no one knows how the milkshake was spilled. It's as simple as that. But yeah. It's all because those 2 girls were giggling that we do not coexist in a society with squirrels. But it is also those 2 girls giggling that allowed me to think about all this. A parallel universe in which we do coexist with squirrels. So, in a way, shout out to those 2 girls. We hit 50 subscribers. I know I don't try to pay attention to numbers too much. I try to not think about this podcast too much. It's like, I think that sounds messed up. Because I do care about this podcast, but when you start caring about it a certain way, I think it affects it, So, I appreciate all your comments and everything, and I read all of them, but I try not to let it affect me too much, when I'm talking, because then you get inside your head. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm sure you already got my point, but I think we have a little less than 10 minutes left. Let me go to my notes page right here, see if we can get one more thing or a couple more things to talk about. Okay, yes, I did want to bring this up on this episode. So, I get followed on Instagram, right? Around this time of the year by people in high school, because those are the people that discover my content because they're looking at what college they want to go to or what college will offer them the best experience. Seemingly, I don't know. What am I what am I talking about? But I get followed by like high school students, right? And so I'll like click on their profile, and there's something I noticed. How to talk about this? Something I noticed about high school students, like the energy. I mean, most of them are private, right? But then the ones that are public, there's a certain energy about their pages, right? It's all the same. And all the people that are private usually have, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Let me get to my point. How are you in high school and have over like 1,000 followers? And then how do you, on top of that, how do you have thousands of followers? Like I have people that follow me and they have like 3,000 followers. And I'm like, how do you even know that many people, man? I'm now in college. I met quite a few people. I think I have like a little over 1,100 followers. How do you know as a high schooler? You're in your hometown, you know? How do you know 3,000 people? I don't, today, do I even know 3,000? I mean, I don't know if I do, but what, where do these people come from? Like, what are you doing? Do you go to like networking events? Like, that's the thing. It's the people that have these like thousands of followers in high school. They're just like the popular kids, right? But it's like, who the fuck are you? Like, why are you popular with that many people? I'm just so blown away by that. Did I talk about this on this podcast? Dunbar's number. Dunbar's number is that, I think I did talk about it, but I didn't know what the name of it. Dunbar's number is the idea that you shouldn't have a relationship, I think, or like you shouldn't know more than 150 people. Like that's not normal for a human, because if you have a relationship with more than 150 people, then it's harder to make them meaningful. And so I see these these teenagers with thousands of followers. I'm like, what are you doing? I think I'm just so curious. Like, how do you know these people? I think that's it. I don't know if there was much. This is one of those conversations where it's good to have with like another person, because I have the question, but I don't have anything to like build off of it. But I have that question. I'm just that question of, how do these? Okay, let's think about it. How do these kids know this many people? Actually, they don't even need to. That's the other thing. The people with thousands of followers, they're usually only following like a few hundred people because they're like so fucking cool. So let's see. I guess they're getting all their teachers to follow them, obviously. They must be a hit. Okay, here's the thing. They must be in the generation where they're the friends with older siblings, and then the older siblings have younger siblings. And those younger siblings look up to the friends of their older siblings, and so they must follow too. Okay, so we got teachers, younger siblings. These kids must have played sports, right? Sports teams, oh my God, every season, that's an easy 20 followers, right? I didn't have social media growing up playing sports, but I can imagine, new baseball roster gets announced, boom. That's like what? I forgot how many people are on a baseball team. That's at least what, like 15 kids giving you a follow? Basketball, 15 kids following you, every season. So boom, you play two sports. We'll say baseball, basketball. That's what I did. Every new season, every year you get 30 new followers around. And so if you play sports for 10 years, boom, 300 followers just from that. We'll say there's some overlap. We'll say there's 265 followers just from sports alone. I think that's what it is. They diversified their followers. They got them from so many different sources. That's what you got to do. You got to play the game. Diversify your follower income. And so school's an easy one. I mean, in elementary school, that's a pack of 30 every year. And then in middle school, like I said, you have different classes for each subject. Oh my God, you're killing. Like I had 8 periods every middle school, like sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. So you get 8 periods. Oh my God, 3 trimesters? Oh my God. So 8 times 30, that's 240. 240 times, what is it? Yeah, 240 times 3, because it's 3 trimesters, that's 720. And then 720 times 3 for 3 years, that's 2160, right? I think I did that right. So in middle school, boom, that's over 2,000 followers. Okay, so I think it actually makes sense. If you're just very sociable in middle school, high school, I think 3,000 followers is actually quite attainable. Huh. That just means those kids they were really connecting. Actually, you know what? I think it's because like social media was prominent in my childhood, but like I got Instagram, I think like seventh grade. That's when I made an Instagram account. So yeah, I feel like now today, like kids are more in tune. Wow, what the fuck? Why do I sound so? That's the thing. I'm going in my next stage of life. This is me now. I talk about kids these days. But yeah, I guess if social media is a bigger part of kids' life, 3,000 followers is actually, that's quite attainable. It's totally possible. Huh. Shit. But there's so many mental health implications, and it's probably, there's goods and bads, pros and cons with everything. So who knows? That's a study for some other day, some other person. I just get on social media to promote myself. That's how I try to remain mentally healthy. But then I tear myself down. I'm I'm my I'm like the meanest person to myself. What the fuck is wrong with me? I say some of the nastiest shit about myself. I'm sure you do too. Like not about me. I'm sure you say the nastiest shit about yourself. You say what no one else would even think to say. You say about yourself to yourself. That's the worst part. You say it straight to your face, and in the most intrusive times too. You'll be sleeping, and you'll just say some nasty shit to yourself, and you're like, God damn, I was trying to sleep, man. Jesus. But we hit 50 followers. Remember, we're doing something special at 100. Subscribers. We're doing something special at 100 subscribers. I don't know what that is, so please actually don't subscribe. I'm not ready yet. Please don't do that. It's one day. One day I'll hit 100 subscribers, and then we'll do the one day 100 subscriber special. Thank you guys for listening. It means a lot. It always means a lot. It's really cool. Every episode, I never expect anyone to listen, and then you guys do, and then you message me, like referencing something, and I'm like, holy fuck, people listen. Jesus. So it still blows my mind, and I'm very, very thankful for that. If you know me in real life, I don't know, maybe it comes through on here too. I don't understand emotions. I don't, I don't know like how to be, the thing that makes humans human, I feel like I don't know how to do that very well. So, you'll just have to trust me, that I'm thankful for you listening. I promise it's real. So yeah. Thanks for watching my coloring video. If you watched it, it's still ridiculous to me that I made that, but I'm glad you guys watched it. It's been up for like a day now, or 2 days. I don't know. So yeah, thank you. I've said thank you a lot of times. See, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, uh, but yeah, This is so awkward. This is so. And by the way, we never did the bit. I didn't even have a bit planned. I told you, I promised you, I'm not that, what is the word? I can't think of the word, guys. I'm not that predictable, okay? I told you I wasn't going to do a bit 2 weeks in a row, and now I bet you're expecting me to do a bit next week, but, well, who knows? Who knows? I'll have to switch it up, keep you on your toes. That's what this is about. Making you think, keeping you on your toes. That's what this intellectual podcast is about. This podcast lasted 3 minutes too long. I'm sorry, but also very thankful. Okay, see you next week. Bye.